good morning. Lovely cup of tea. Isn't that nice?
Nothing like a cuppa, particularly when you've had a difficult time, as I know you have, Joan, over the last couple of weeks.
Very difficult time, yes. We're not, you're not, as it were, the only ones, people out there with your problems. No, we all have our crosses to bear.
Yep.
And my husband, Ralph, unfortunately had a series of mini strokes last weekend, resulting in a big old whopper of a one.
Right.
Midweek.
Right, yes.
The mini ones we didn't even notice.
No, you don't often.
No.
Some is just a raised eyebrow or a flicker of the side of the mouth.
Absolutely. He was... His eyebrows were going up one by one. First one, then the other, and so on.
But he does that anyway, doesn't he? I mean, that's...
Exactly. He's one of those people. I've never understood a lot of his facial expressions. We wondered if he was autistic at one point, and now we wouldn't know because he's not in a good way.
No, he's not up to taking the...
He's not in a good way at all. No.
So he's currently being looked after, I understand.
He is.
Good hands.
He's in good hands. He's in a private hospital because we can afford it.
Yes, why not?
Mahmood is
wonderful.
tending to him. Which is very nice.
Yes.
And it means I get time to spend with Mahmood. We like doing the cryptic crossword.
Yes.
I don't understand it, but...
No. But I'm sure he's very good.
Well, yeah, he's very bright.
He's very talented.
I just throw out words and try and pretend that I know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, so...
and poor old Ralph's there just...
dribbling.
Well, who knows what he's thinking, if anything. But yes, he's... we don't know the prognosis. It's one of those things. We don't
early
know.
days.
It is early days. And I find it very destabilising, because you want to make plans.
Yes, of course
we've got lots of things coming up.
Yes.
And I just don't know where Ralph's going to be.
I think it's very hard on you, Joan. I mean, people, all the energy always goes to the person who's had the stroke or had
but they don't know.
They don't even know often that it's happening. If they do, they're confused. They're in and out. They're on medication, for goodness sake. So, they're being looked after, and often it's somebody in your position who's actually suffering a lot more.
Thank you. Yes.
And I know that with some of the things that I've been through over the years. And often people won't even give you the time of day.
No, I mean, I was hoping for a card or something.
Nothing.
Some flowers, balloons, but no.
No, nothing at all.
No.
Which is disappointing. And, somebody like Ralph, who's normally so vibrant and lively, sort of, I mean, I know you sort of say it's rather annoying.
He's always been annoying.
Yes. But nevertheless,
that's lessened, actually, because he's got nothing to say.
Yes, and particularly now that he actually can't speak at all, from what you say. And there's just the sort of odd anal explanation is the only way he's awake.
Yes.
That's difficult.
Yes.
That's difficult. But, fingers crossed.
Yes.
Either he gets a lot better or, bless him, slips away.
Exactly. I'm at the crossroads and I really would like him to take a turning left or right.
Yes.
I don't want to be hovering at the giveaway sign and not know what to do.
Absolutely, and wondering whether to plunge out into the middle of the road or not, or
absolutely
let the horse and rider go past. Yes, it's a difficult time, but well done for coming in, and I must say you look wonderful.
Well, I'm going out a lot.
Yes.
I just thought I can't put my life on hold.
No,
I just can't
and
do that.
And I don't think he would want you to.
No. And I'm, I send him little emails and photos and videos. The nurse says he doesn't look at them.
No.
Which I'm a bit offended by, but...
Yes, although it's probably because of the eyelid stasis that he's got.
Yes.
Where he can't actually open them unless somebody opens them for him.
Which Mahmood does.
Mahmood will do.
He'll do it in the morning and the evening.
But I'm afraid the nurses...
Like opening the curtains.
Yes, exactly. But I'm afraid the nurses won't be... Well, they're not terribly bright often, are they?
No.
And they won't know to do that. So, yes. But anyway...
You'd think someone would have invented something by now, like the old cartoons with cocktail sticks holding the eyes open. Yes. You think there'd be some wee invention.
I'm sure Mahmood is probably on the case as we speak.
Yes, with his big instruments.
Yes, indeed.
Okay, well, let's move on and hear our first problem of the day. Dear Joan and Jericha, I'm 60. And I've never met the right guy to get married or have children with. I've had a terribly depressing life and often contemplated suicide. But I did freeze my eggs and have recently met a really fun Jamaican man called Azebo who wants to fertilise them. Is this a good idea? The doctor says my womb is good, though I did have a vaginal prolapse recently. Sylvia Richards from Aberystwyth.
Gosh, what a saga. Hello, Sylvia. Good morning.
And Aberystwyth is a very sweet place, isn't it? I've been to some very nice little coffee shops there.
It's very nice. She doesn't say whether this Jamaican man is living in Aberystwyth. That would be my
Azebo.
first question.
Also, when she says he wants to fertilise the eggs, it implies he doesn't want to do it via intercourse. He wants to sort of spray himself over them.
Spurt onto it, perhaps. Yes, okay, so, well, let's scroll back. She's 60 years old. Right.
She's had a prolapse.
She's had a prolapse. That's my second big concern. She doesn't say whether she's had the prolapse
Since she's been with Azebo.
Yes.
I would think that's probably what brought that about. Because without being racist... is likely he will have been quite big.
Well, here's the thing. An elderly lady who hasn't, by the sound of it, had a lot of intercourse.
If any, during
her life. She doesn't specify, but it's looking to me rather like from the photo that it's probably likely that she hasn't.
She's essentially a 60-year-old virgin.
Indeed. So if she has had an intercourse with this... Azebo fellow. It's perfectly possible that the size, as you say, of his penis will have set off some alarms in the vagina, essentially, which will have clamped down, emergency lockdown process, which happens at around this sort of age. A lot of ladies will be experiencing this vaginitis. That will then clamp on.
Can we just clarify? So is it vaginitis?
Yes, correct. And what that does is essentially that will...
Is that a Christmas thing?
It happens around Christmas, often because of the cold. You'll find that the cold means that the tissue, the vaginal tissue, the penis, the tissue of the penis, everything's a little bit harder, a little bit more...
And Azebo's bound to be quite hard, isn't he?
Unforgiving. He's probably rock hard. She doesn't say how old he is, but I imagine he's young.
She says fun. Here.
He's very young.
He's young and goodness me.
He's very young indeed, isn't he?
By the look of his body, she doesn't enclose a photo of his phallus.
Or his face.
That's a firm guy. And he could probably really pound away at Sylvia.
Well, exactly. So it's the pounding. So yes, to come back to the vaginitis, the pounding, the gripping of the vaginal tissue, the cold weather will combine to cause this prolapse. And so essentially what will have happened is that the lining of the vagina will have become inadvertently attached to the penis, and as he's pounded in and out, in and out, and 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 eventually with this in and out pounding motion with this very, very hard, very, very large penis, that he will have essentially dislodged the vagina and dragged it back out of the vaginal opening, leaving it hanging down like a sort of a sock of Christmas, a little Christmas sock.
Sort of skinny Christmas stocking.
A skinny little Christmas stocking that will be hanging down there for poor old Sylvia Richards of Aberystwyth.
I suppose the good news is her womb is functional. So
yes.
In terms of placing the fertilised eggs within the womb, that will work.
That can work.
But, I mean, she needs to get the prolapse sorted out, doesn't she?
She probably does, not least of all for Azebo's sake.
And she needs to be careful because so often I've heard of people who go in to get a prolapse sorted and the surgeon will whip out the womb at the same time without your consent.
That's it.
She's got to watch out for that.
Yes, that's
you
a very
might well
good
think
point.
You're 60 plus, you might
Done and
get
dusted.
Cervical cancer. Let's just take that.
Indeed.
Take that out.
Whip it out. And fair enough. I mean, that's a very valid concern. He's just simply saving time and money down the line for the elderly lady concerned. Look, I would want to know a little bit more about what she plans for the child. She's 60. We can see that Azebo from the different shots that we have of him from those odd angles is pretty young. He's obviously got a good peer group. He's with a lot of friends. It looks like they're playing beach volleyball.
Yes. I don't think that's in Aberystwyth though, is it?
It doesn't look like
hot.
it. Yes, it looks hot and it looks... So It's not clear entirely whether this is perhaps a holiday romance, whether he's aware of her feelings. He says he's
keen to fertilise the eggs.
Right. But as you say,
that could be a language confusion. And he was just asking for a cup of coffee.
Indeed,
or something.
yes, which are similar words apparently in Jamaica for coffee and egg. So all of this is possible. I need to know a lot more. All we can say, Sylvia Richards, Aberystwyth, get that prolapse sorted and perhaps write in again.
And we'd love to see more pictures of him and just get more of a
And
feel for him.
Perhaps his young chums.
Yes, absolutely. We'd love to just establish his group, his sort of interests beyond beach ball.
Indeed, any shots of them in the water or...
absolutely. I think it's important to see these types of guys in lots of different settings,
configurations and what have you. Perhaps we'll come back to this one.
I think so.
Look forward to that.
I think so.
Thank you, Sylvia.
Dear Joan and Jericha, I have white spots on my buttocks. What should I do? Lillian Thrum, Highgate, London.
Right. She doesn't say how big these white spots are, does she?
No, but...
is there a picture?
There is a picture here, and my first thought here is either diabetes or Candida albicans, which of course can expose itself like this with all these different pussy spots all around the body, but particularly on the buttocks.
Yes. So peering closely at some of these spots, as you say, I think do look very like Candida albicans, and I can see that she's been scratching away at them. There's some red marks that would indicate, and I would say cut your nails, Lillian, first of all, because you've torn the skin on those buttocks.
If that is Lillian, I mean, perhaps that could be a friend or a husband or whatever.
Right, and just writing in on their behalf. Oh, you mean that
there's had a go at them?
I see. Yes, all right, fair enough.
Or a dog.
A dog or yes, actually looking at it, that looks like a claw. But it may be, because I know what some people do is that sometimes if you can't get at something, and obviously the buttocks, I mean, you can reach around, but Lillian's got a very big, she's very wide, isn't she, and quite short-armed. So it may well be that she struggles to get round and scratch those. So it may well be, and actually peering closely at those do look like dog claw or some sort of large mammal claw. I'm assuming a dog. That she's perhaps trained to for treats to scrape across the buttocks. This has made matters quite a bit worse, I'd say.
Because those could have started out as really quite harmless little spots that we often get ridgy things from too much moisturiser.
Absolutely, yes.
Or exercise and sweating.
Or overly tight pants, which you can see where she's got them around her knees, but you can see those aren't, so that's not a big pair of pants.
They do look quite nasty, those. And
the pants or the...
Well, both. The spots are really looking like they're on the way to becoming very, very infected.
Yes, absolutely. And the wheels, the dog wheels become infected. I can see there's a sort of dragging infection down at the bottom of one of these, which doesn't look very nice. And in fact, some of the pus is actually greeny colour, which is ringing some alarm bells for me. So I would say...
If it was Candida albicans, should she just simply change her diet? Is it a gut thing? Or...
Yes, I mean, it's partly gut, it's partly lifestyle, it's partly attitude. Often people who want to use this as an excuse not to have sex with their partner. Oh, I've got thrush. Again, yes, again. No, that's psychological.
I know, you hear these people who say, I have a very acidic state in my body generally. Again, is that true, or is that just them an attitude?
No, it's claptrap.
An acidic attitude.
It's an acidic state of mind, and if you're thinking acidic thoughts, literally that will translate into acid in the body.
So she can't just buff those off.
She can't buff them off. I would say if she had a pot of yogurt, I'd start smearing that on. Obviously, the only thing is that might get the dog licking
very
that off
excited.
and very excited. Dogs love yogurt, incidentally. Anything like that they'll go wild for. So she may find that the dog actually ends up biting the buttock. If there's yogurt on it, that might make matters worse. I would say probably go to a clinic quickly and get this sorted, because you're going to end up with gangrenous buttocks, and that's a road to ruin, really. Thank you, Lillian Thrum.
Dear Joan and Jericha, my husband says he's gone off me as my boobs are like mangled socks. He's offered to pay for a boob job but wants me to go really big. What should I do? Marie Grundera, who is 59.
Well, firstly, Marie, congratulations on having such a lovely husband. There's not a lot of guys out there who would be offering this.
Exactly, because of course what it's saying is, I'm not going to go off with someone else because your boobs are like mangled socks. I want to be with you, but you with big boobs.
That's it.
A better you.
So he's an honest man
with a few bob to spare.
With a few bob to spare.
Got a nice job.
Goodness me, you don't turn that down quickly at the age of 59. I mean, you're 60 in a year's time.
Yes.
A bus pass, sheltered housing.
Yes, and he could be looking elsewhere, couldn't he? Quite happily.
Goodness, yes. I mean, and no one would blame him. That's pretty normal.
There's a picture of him here actually, and he's technically overweight, balding man, but of course he's a man.
Absolutely,
he's a red-blooded man.
He is.
He's a man with needs. Yep. And he's a man who, given the job he has and the car he has and the golf clubs he has and the boot of the car that he put in the photo there, he's obviously done very well for himself. So I think really, what should I do is a kind of odd question.
It's an odd one, and it makes me wonder what her agenda is, to be quite honest, because if we just roll back to the start of that letter and just read me the beginning again about the boobs.
She says they're like mangled socks. Or he says they are.
Oh, he says that.
But I've seen the picture and he's not far off.
Oh yes, no, they are, aren't they? That's odd, isn't it?
What's good about those though is she could go quite big.
Yes, she could, because there's a lot of baggy excess, isn't there? I mean, it looks to me a little bit like she's tried to tuck them into a bra that's too small over the years.
Would it cause that shrivel raising?
Absolutely. Yes, absolutely. She's obviously she's had children, I imagine.
She says though in the long letter that she's never breastfed.
Right.
She doesn't like it.
But that could be the problem. I mean, yes,
because traditionally people think the breastfeeding is what pulls and drags and causes the wrinkling, the sagging, the emptying, and the stretch marks. But no,
it's the milk. It's the milk. It's the it's that first
colostrum.
Indeed, that actually it's, although it's very healthy for the baby, it's if you don't, it's poisonous for the mother. If you don't feed it to the baby, it poisons the mother, and it creates pockets and sagging, and then if you have
puckered boobs,
wrinkly puckered, dimply boobs that are going to end up like this poor lady's here, and poor husband having to put up with that. But yes, it's
so yet again, our proof that breast is best. Breastfeeding is absolutely vital.
Yes. Look, you don't have to do it for very long. No. A week or two. And then, yes, I understand you want to get those boobs. Your husband will need those boobs back. It's not fair on the guys if you're going to, these women that do this. Oh, my son is 8. We had a letter, didn't we, last week? My son is 8. He's still breastfeeding. Is this normal?
Well, the lady, the worst case I've ever heard was actually in my village.
Which is, remind me?
In Dalbruth.
Oh, yes.
And there was a boy of 12.
Breastfeeding. Publicly.
After church we always have a coffee in the back part of the church, and I looked across to see this woman from behind. She was quite large, rocking back and forth. I thought, she's one of the special needs ladies that we normally give an extra cup of milky tea in. But no, she was feeding her son. He was a normal 12-year-old lad, teeth and everything. What was the name? What were their names? Just to give us a bigger picture of who they were. He was called Duncan. Yeah. And she was called Morag. And she was bold as brass. Right. Oh dear. You ask yourself, is this about you? Yeah. Or is this about your son? Exactly. And where is the poor devil of a husband who's just had to pack up and ship out and look for boobs elsewhere, the boob hunt that these poor guys have to go on. It's not their fault. People are, we get these whiny letters. And I'm not suggesting, incidentally, that this sock boob letter is particularly whiny. It sounds to me like she's at least considering the generous offer. But, we get these whiny letters. My husband's left me, blah, blah, blah. It's a physical need
that these guys have.
Absolutely, and thank God they're now creating not only these 18 to 30 holidays, but the boob hunt holidays.
Boob hunt, yes, boob hunt enterprises.
It's a biological need for men to have boobs on tap 24/7.
Absolutely, yeah.
Medically, they will wither away and have all kinds of problems.
They have mental problems.
Absolutely, the number of men we see becoming violent, murderous, paedophilic, all and very simply because they're not getting their needs met at home. And ladies, we know what their needs are. It's not bloody rocket science.
It's not rocket science. It's not rocket science.
Feed them some food, give them your boobs and some sexual intercourse 2-3 times a day, laugh at their jokes. You know, these are basic things.
It's very basic, very simple.
Well, thank you as always from both of us for sharing your troubles with us.
Yes, very many thanks.
We always appreciate your writing into us or phoning into us. Whichever way you want to reach us, we're here for you.
Absolutely.
And we wish you all the very best.
Yes.
What's your plans for this evening?
Well, I've got a massage booked. I'm going straight from here to the massage. And then I'm going out for dinner.
Oh,
yes.
Lovely.
Yes,
lovely.
Wonderful. What about you?
I'm having a mani-pedi. And curiously, I got inspired by your eyebrows. And I'm having my fringe tattooed.
Oh, wonderful. Yes, wonderful. Well, that's what everybody's doing now.
Yes.
Yes.
But I'm having a curly one. I just got sick of every morning trying to beef up my hair because, as you know, I've suffered with fine hair for a very, very long time. I'm actually looking into a transplant.
Right.
But for the meantime, I thought having a curly fringe
It's lovely.
would be really, really nice.
I think that would be
quite
very
youthening.
I think where you make you look younger. And also, I mean, I know what people are doing, and presumably this is your plan, is that you get it tattooed and then you have a little wispy covering of your own hair. But anybody looking will just make that assumption that it's a
thickness beneath.
Thick beneath the top layering.
Yes.
And just take it for an ordinary fringe.
I think so. Wonderful. I think so. I think you'd have to look carefully with your glasses.
Yes.
On to say that's a tattooed curly fringe. That's not real.
No, I mean, and the beauty of these people nowadays, and I don't know where you're going, it's normally Bayswater, isn't it? The beauty of it is that they're all so skilled. These wonderful Mediterranean and Eastern European hairdressers that we've got flooding in now have wonderful techniques for making these things look absolutely natural and in a way that I think a lot of indigenous British actually don't do.
I agree.
Because,
I couldn't agree with you more.
You know, they've not got the patience.
No. These are hardworking men and women, aren't
exactly,
they?
Yes, and know how to work and don't charge the earth.
No, very reasonable prices.
Yes, indeed.